because my life is very, it's a roller coaster, I
Right,
never tell you.
right.
So I used to put extra efforts. I ensure I grab it. And I got a really good response over there as well. And I got really confident that I'm 1/3 CA already. And that again boosted my, overall this thing. And that's how, CA came into
Right.
picture. And yeah.
Hello everyone, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Manthan Mehta Show, where we, like to discuss and like to listen rather to the stories of each and every individual who are showcased over here, because I truly believe that each and every story is different, unique and inspiring in their own way. आज हमारे साथ we have a thorough friend of mine, a very dear friend of mine, Rishi Ganatra. इनके बारे में let's request him only to talk a bit about himself. Hi Rishi, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Manthan, for calling me for the show.
Yeah.
And I feel really honored to be, on the show with you
My
now.
God, this is too much from Rishi.
I know, yeah.
But Rishi, I request you to introduce yourself.
Rishi Ganatra. I am a chartered accountant. I started my journey as a chartered accountant in the year 2008. And so that is,
So that is when you started studying for a chartered accountant.
Yes, yes. So at that time I was in 12th standard, and we had this, we can, simultaneously we can start studying for CA as well. So we started with CPT, and that's how things went on. So CPT, first attempt I cleared, and I got really confident that I'm 1/3 CA already. And फिर मुझे मालूम पड़ा कि नहीं ये 1/3 CA हो गया, अभी तो मेन जर्नी बाकी है. So what happened, फिर IPCC में घुस गए और वहाँ पे अटेम्प्ट लगने लगे. तो IPCC eventually I think third attempt में clear हुआ. And उसके total 5 attempts में clear हुआ because we had group wise of course. और उसके बाद CA final luckily मेरा second attempt में clear हो चुका. I don't know how but हो गया luckily. And then yeah, that's how. So in 2015 I cleared my CA.
Okay.
And then my professional journey started. Of course we had articleship and all, but then post qualification का जो journey होता है, it cannot be compared with your articleship.
But how many years of articleship you had?
So we had 3 years of articleship.
So when you became a CA, you had already worked for like 3 years.
Yes. So we have this compulsory. It's a mandatory training that we have to do under a CA firm or an industry. That's how it is. So we had this thing, and I am someone who have always ensured that whatever opportunity comes to me, I ensure I grab it. So what happened? We had this concept of having in the 3 years of internship, what we can do, we can have 2 years of articleship under a CA firm, and then in the third year we can opt to go for an industrial training. So we can work with some private company or public listed company. That's how it is. So I got an opportunity again to work with one of the venture capital funds. And which is now a very, that time it was a startup, and now it's a very well-grown venture capital fund now. So I was working with that as an industrial trainee for a year. Then I cleared my, eventually I cleared my CA, and then, so, usually what happens once you clear your CA, you already have 3 years of corporate experience. You feel like, you know everything. You have that feeling, you're a CA, plus you have an experience, so you will have good, good market for yourself. But then eventually the realist, the real part comes in, and it hits you really hard. ये तो कुछ भी नहीं है, ये तो शुरुआत है बस. वैसा हो गया. So and then I joined a.
But I have to cut you over here. आप direct CA पे आ गए. But I believe that you have done your schooling from.
Yes. So I'll start from the beginning. I was born in Mumbai. Because my life is very it's a roller coaster. I will tell you. So I was born in Mumbai, Matunga. And but my schooling is done from Gujarat. So then we shifted to Gujarat due to some family issues and financial crisis.
And Gujarat में भी कहाँ से?
Gujarat में भी I don't know, not many people would have heard of that place. It's a very small district and it's on the border of Gujarat, Maharashtra. It's called Valsad. So I was there in Valsad for my whole from childhood till adolescence period. That's what that's how I would like to frame it. So till 10th standard I was in Valsad. I was in a convent school, St. Joseph's. I completed my जैसे धक्का मार के schooling खत्म किया पहले तो because I was a very below average student, and there's an incident also. I'll tell you what happened. So my highest score that I've scored in terms of percentages, I think 78 or 80%, I believe. Not more than that, of course, because I know myself how I am. So then I'll tell you one incident when I was in 10th standard, and that time moving from Gujarat to Mumbai and getting into a college, it was a very difficult task. It was
post your 10th you came back to Mumbai.
Yes, post 10th standard I shifted to Mumbai because my whole maternal side and paternal side is in Mumbai itself. My whole family is in Mumbai. So we had to eventually shift to Mumbai. So but then getting on merit in colleges in Mumbai from Gujarat, it's a little difficult. Shifting from a different state, that is Gujarat, from Gujarat to Maharashtra, and getting into a one of the nicest colleges in Mumbai. It's a difficult task. You need percentages, you need merit. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, we had financial crisis in our family. Right. So we could not afford giving, donations and stuff like that. Right, so I had to ensure that I get it on merit. And as I told you, I was a very below average student, like 50-60% was like I was a scholar, and I felt like that way. And what happened in 10th standard, so we had this prelims, before the final board exam. So my mummy, she happened to give me a bribe that, if you score 70% in this prelims, more than 70%, I'll give you a multimedia mobile. So that time in 2006-7,
it was a huge thing.
It was a huge thing to get a multimedia phone, that Sony Ericsson and all those.
Right.
So I was very happy. I was overwhelmed. So I was like, okay, let's try. And then as usual, so what happened? I got around 52%, and I had to get the mobile. So I went home. I told my mom that I got 71%.
अच्छा.
And she was very happy that मोबाइल ने इतना कमाल कर दिया, चलो भाई मोबाइल लेके देना ही पड़ेगा. तो मम्मी को मोबाइल तो लेके देना ही था, बिकॉज मैंने बोला 71% आया, उन्होंने प्रॉमिस भी किया था. फिर मम्मी इतना खुश हो गई कि वो कुछ रिजल्ट वगैरह कुछ पूछा नहीं, क्या मार्क्स, सीधा हम लोग गए दुकान में, मोबाइल लेकर आ गए. मैंने चलो लाइट सेट, मोबाइल मिल गया, हम घूम रहे. फिर 1 महीने बाद मार्कशीट आता है हमारे घर पे, पोस्ट पे आता है. अनफॉर्चुनेटली मैं वो टाइम पे घर पे नहीं था और मम्मी के हाथ में रिजल्ट लग गया. मम्मी ने खोल के देखा 52%, और फिर जो मेरी हालत खराब हुई है.
फोन तो मिला ना?
फोन मिल गया था, हाँ, फोन मिला, वापस नहीं लिया. बट देन आई थिंक बोर्ड एग्जाम्स में बहुत मेहनत की थी मेरे बाजू वाले ने, तब जाके मैं पास हुआ. बिकॉज ट्रस्ट मी, इफ आई डिड नॉट चीट इन द 10th स्टैंडर्ड, आई वुड हैव स्टिल बीन इन 10th स्टैंडर्ड. So I was a very below average student. I never liked studying. I was never into studies. I was never into reading books, anything of that sort. Wherever it is reading, I was the last person to be in the line. Right. That's how it was. So, but then eventually, things worked out, and I managed to get around, I think, 78% something, and I got in merit, in Somaya College in Mumbai. So then my journey started in Mumbai itself. Then college. And since I mentioned about CA, so CA is something where you do not get to enjoy your college life. Right. So because the moment you enter into a degree college, your articleship starts. So I had to choose my morning college because of two reasons actually. So my dad had medical history. So he was suffering from a cancerous disease, brain tumor. Okay. And he was hospitalized for like 2 years. And that was the period where I was into colleges and articles going on. That's how it was. So then I had to manage all the three things, so hence I chose a college which had a morning schedule. Like usually degree colleges are from afternoon. Right. But I had to choose some college which had a morning schedule. So 7 to 10 we had this college. Then I had to go for my articleship, and then eventually in the evening I used to go to the hospital where my dad used to stay. And then from there I used to go to my hostel. So I was in hostel for 2 years over here in Mumbai. Right. And that's how things went for like 2 years. And then once things happened, like my dad passed away. And then I was like, I just happened to speak to my mom that, it doesn't make sense for us to stay away from each other now. Because those 2 years were like, I used to stay in the hostel, my dad was in the hospital, and my mom was in Valsad. Okay. So we three stayed away from each other in those 2 years. Then, once dad passed away, and I was like, it doesn't make sense now. So let's just find a small place over here, within our budget, and we'll manage something. Right. And then we shifted here in Chembur, Tilak Nagar, where I currently stay. So that's how it worked out, and that was my journey from the childhood till getting to Mumbai, entering Mumbai.
And then comes the CA thing. But there are two more points in between that I would like to focus on. First is that you are a dancer.
Yes.
And you were a heavyweight dancer back then.
Yes. So that is a different journey again. So I remember the highest weight that I've crossed till now, it is 150 kgs plus.
And what's your weight right now?
Again, I've gained a little, but yeah. Currently, I'm somewhere in the range of 105, 110. Okay. And so the highest that I've gone is 182 kgs. So I had this article published in Times of India as well, the lifestyle section. People can go and check it out. So I was weighing 182 kgs, and then articleship. Again, it's related to articleship. So when articleship started, my office was in Vidya Vihar, and my house is in Chembur. So it's roughly around 3.5 kilometers, I think, 3.5, 4 kilometers. So how I used to manage is, in the evening, once we leave from the office, I used to go walking. I used to go walking home, like those 3.5, 4 kilometers, and then after that, I freshen up, and again I used to go for a walk like 1.5, 2 hours. So eventually I ended up walking for almost, I think, 10 to 12 kilometers every day. that went on for like 3 years.
Wow.
And I managed to reduce around 45 kgs in the span of those 3 years. And then I joined CrossFit, strength gaining,
That toning sort of a
toning
thing
sort of,
happened,
yeah. So then things worked, and I managed to come down to 97. So that was I had touched 97 then.
Wow.
It's like 50% of what I was actually weighing.
Eventually, in like a span of 3 years.
In the span of 4.5, 5 years. Four and a
Okay,
half years.
okay.
Yeah. So it took me around 4.5 years to come down to 97 from 182 kgs. And again now, after getting married, 1.5, 2 years, I'll be completing 2 years, my second anniversary in December. So again, I've gained around 10, 12 kgs, but that's fine. I think that's a good weight. I would say. Yeah, so that's a happy weight. I would say I have no regrets or I have no complaints on that. But yeah, I mean, I'm still managing it.
Let's talk about dancing. Dancing is sort of a passion of yours, but you haven't been trained per se. You have self-learned it.
Yes.
So if you could throw some light on it. And again, back then you were that heavyweight guy again,
Yes.
who used to dance.
Yes. So the only plus point that I see, even though I was heavyweight, I was weighing 182 kgs, even though I was obese, but I was never lethargic or lazy in that sense. I was always active. I used to, play volleyball during my school days. I played volleyball on the district level. I played badminton on district level. I played basketball at school level. So I have always participated in the sports activities, and I was always into dancing. So how dancing? I'll tell you. So we had this channel in Valsad. It's a local channel. It was only telecasted in Valsad itself. So what happened? It was called Satya TV or something. I don't remember exactly. So they had all these dance videos, Prabhu Deva, Hrithik Roshan, and that time we had Harman Baweja also. So I started, I used to try doing those same steps.
Right.
And of course, those steps मैं अंदर से कर पाता हूँ, लेकिन वो दिखता नहीं था because of my heavy weight. So I used to put extra efforts. And I started having that, liking and passion for dance. And eventually what happened during school functions, every, annual functions we had, I used to participate in dance and I used to get good response. Even though I was heavyweight, I used to dance. So that's the reason I was getting good response.
Right.
So it motivated my overall, esteem. And I was like, let's go for this. Even though I'm heavyweight. So we had this Ganesh Acharya also. He was heavyweight and, he was a choreographer. So again, that was one of the motivations that not all the lean or, all the thin people can dance.
Anyone can
dance. ABCD, correct. Yeah. Anybody can dance. So that's how my dance journey started, and then cut to coming back to my hostel. When I was in the hostel, again I used to participate in the dance activities, and we had this annual fest in hostel. It was called Avishkar. So Avishkar, the birth of talent. So that's how we used to name it, and I used to dance on that stage. I got a very good response because again, when I came to Mumbai, I was weighing the same, hefty weight. And I got a really good response over there as well because people like seeing a heavy person dancing, right. And if the dance is good, it's an
unconventional thing. So you have an add-on advantage.
Correct. So yeah, I got a good response, and then eventually when I left my hostel, I started getting calls from my hostel to come and teach their existing students now. Right. When I left my hostel, so I used to go and teach them. I used to choreograph for them, for all the teams that they had, 10, 12 teams or teams they used to have. So I used to choreograph for them. And that's how the journey started. And then the first offer that I got from outside my circle, like as a professional, someone reached out to me that I got your number from so and so. We were in the same hostel, so we had this Sangeet coming up, and would you like to choreograph for us? I was like, that time we are pretty innocent at that point in time because we do not have any idea as such. So what happened? I ended up telling them I do not have any experience in that. I've never done it professionally, but if you want, I can help you. They were like, yeah, please come. So I went there. I taught them around, I think 5 or 6 performances I taught them on like 5, 7 songs. What happened? They ended up asking me, how much do I pay you? And trust me, I had no idea how to charge, what to charge, how much to charge,
right.
Like in what way I should charge. I was like, you give me 500 rupees. So I took only 500 rupees for all those performances. I had no idea.
I never thought of money in that case.
Exactly, because that's when it really hard. Yeah, it hit really hard that this is actually the passion. Because where you never thought about the money, part. You just enjoyed what you were doing.
True.
So that was my first earned money as 500 rupees and as a choreographer, and that again boosted my overall this thing and. Then eventually I started going as a judge in my hostel. So whenever the inter-hostel...
I think until today you go there.
Yes, till date. Luckily, touch wood, they still call me up, and all the existing students that we have, right. They still call me up that, Rishi sir, if you can come and judge for our, dance event and all. So whether it is inter-hostel or intra-hostel, they do consider me for the judging part. So I go there as a judge and then, doing professionally as well. So right. Pre-COVID, I used to get almost around 8 to 10 projects every year. from across Mumbai or across India, I would say. I have traveled in Gujarat as well for a couple of projects. But yeah, and then post-COVID, things went really down because, that restrictions came in, like, we have to complete in 50 and number of events came down. Like, in Gujaratis, we have,
lavish
event
sort of a thing. Yeah.
So it came down to one event, basic wedding and 50 people. So then Sangeet was the last thing that people would prefer. So things eventually went down, and that's when even even my journey as a choreographer went on a little halt.
Right.
But then till date, sometimes I do get offers, and like, the frequency, probably the quantum has decreased. Where I used to get 8 to 10 projects, now probably I get 1 or 2 projects, or maybe sometimes if I'm very lucky, I get 3 to 4 projects. That's how it is.
It's a passion project.
Correct. Yeah. So, but one more thing, when I had, so the reason why I chose CA, I would tell you about, it's a little connected. So as I told you, I was always passionate about dancing and the media industry and all those stuff. So I happened to join BMM.
What's that?
That is Bachelor in Mass Media.
Okay.
So
that's the course that you were studying.
Yes. So instead of BCom, I had actually joined BMM. And in that phase, after joining BMM, in that 1 month, my dad had, expired. And then I understood that now I am the only one who is a breadwinner at home, and I have to ensure that, we get fixed income as in future. So you kind of become futuristic and you become matured way before your actual age.
True.
So then I, took a step back. I gave up on BMM. I chose BCom, and then I entered CA. Because CA, apparently that time it was cheapest course with maximum returns.
I think until today, if I'm not
Yes, of course. So that's how CA came into picture, and yeah.
So let's cut to your CA story right now. So being a CA myself as well, I understand that clearing that exam is a mental block that you have, and that's the biggest high that one could have. That when you click that enter button and you see the pass thing in front of you, because you have given like months of your time, you have just locked yourself in a room and you are studying in those books and stuff. What was the feeling when you clicked that button and eventually pass was written on
Oh my God. I mean, that feeling only a CA can understand. That is something only a CA can understand. Neither your brothers, nor your sisters, no one from your family, only you and your parents can understand the feeling, because the efforts that you as a student put in, your parents also put the exact efforts, I would say. So I'll tell you this incident, what my mom used to do. So as I told you, I was very below average. I never read books, and I was always not into studies and all. But then again, CA, that's a very contradictory thing. So I always used to get frustrated very easily. So if I did not understand anything, I would actually throw the book and I would actually give up. Right. But that is also, my mom had a habit of writing all the small quotes, 1-liners, 2-liners, the positive quotes. Wherever she used to find it, maybe in the newspaper, maybe on the TV, wherever she used to find it, and I find it positive. She used to write it in the notebook, like that small school notebook we used to have, the small one. Right. So she had written the full book, and then every evening 6 to 7 we used to have a session. So compulsory, even though my syllabus is not complete or whatever it is, I used to shut down my books, used to sit on the sofa, and my mom used to read all the positive quotes to me for that 1 hour. And that actually boosted my morale, and boosted my energy of giving an extra effort and go for it. That go for it attitude. Instead of having quit attitude, I quit attitude. Instead of that, I used to have the go for it attitude. Like, do not give up. You try. You fail, that's fine. But if you do not try and fail, you're actually a failure.
Right.
So, I read this somewhere, that if you try, you are not a failure. But if you do not try, you're already a failure.
True.
So that is one thing that hit really hard. And I was like, let's give it. Let's put some extra efforts. And that's how things worked out. So yeah, I mean, that's how my CA journey I completed my CA journey. And then, things started working out eventually.
And I've always seen this, including me, being a CA, I could truly share it that once you are a CA, there's a sense of emptiness now.
Yeah.
Because it's like you have achieved something great, there has to be something to complement it now. Like, कल उठ के मैं क्या करूँगा? There is a huge vacuum or an empty space that we have. That now there is nothing to do. We have achieved what we were aiming for. Now what? So did that thing struck you?
I would say to an extent, yes, but to an extent. So what happened? So previously, what we used to have, whenever you see a CA, you will always have a predefined notion that this person is into the the stereotype profile, audit, tax, or the similar kind of stuff, income tax or GST, now GST. So you have that predefined notion. But I'm telling you, it's like an ocean. The opportunities that you get being a CA, you have many different profiles to explore. True. And this is the reason why I do not have that emptiness, because the profile that I'm into, it's totally different. I'm telling you, not all the practicing CAs would understand what I actually do. It is a part of audit, but it is not exactly an audit.
Right.
So my actual profile, it is called internal financial control.
We'll come to that. Come to that. Now, being a CA, now you are scouting for some work or job. Now let's go there. You have an experience of around 3 years, and then you are starting to look for a job. Then what happens?
Right. So once you clear your CA, you start applying to all the companies. You start applying to all the major corporates, listed companies, and stuff like that, because you want to be in that branded position now.
Right.
So I applied to a lot many companies, and many interviews happened. But then the only thing that you have it in mind that the first, if it's your first job, it should be a good profile, because it is something that is going to build your future. Not every at every job you're not going to switch the profile.
Right.
So you have to make sure whatever profile you choose, it has to be a futuristic profile, and it has to be the happy profile. I would say you should be happy doing that profile.
Right.
Because I've seen many CAs suffering like anything. In spite of having more than 10 years of experience, they still crib about their profile. That मुझे अभी ये कंटाला आ रहा है, मुझे नहीं करना है, मुझे कुछ और करना है, मुझे बिजनेस करना है. बिजनेस का भी कैसा दिमाग में आता है that they are tired of their existing profile now.
That is why they want to go there.
Correct. That is probably one of the reasons. Maybe not all people would think about that way, but that is one of the reasons, because you are tired with your existing profile. So that is a very crucial stage where you have to decide in what profile you want to go. And the first job was with an IT company, and I got a profile of Sarbanes-Oxley, SOX. That is IFC in India, what we use, internal financial control. So it's a totally different profile, and
an unconventional sort of a thing, nothing that regular CAs do.
Basically. Yes. So it was initially a part of internal audit, but then eventually it has grown so much that the guidelines came where they had to create a separate department for that, and it is something that the US follows. It's a federal law passed by US, and which is now followed in India as well, because after we had scams like Satyam scam,
right.
And which was a huge scam, of course, 8,000, I believe 8,000 crores scam. And that is when IFC or SOX was introduced in 2002 by US federal law, that whatever the white collar crimes are happening, the window dressing of the financial statements, that can be eradicated, that can be eventually reduced by using this particular tool, that is SOX. And not every CA can do till now, I'm telling you. Not every CA would understand this.
And you started your journey with this, right?
Yes, I ensure that I start my journey with that. And the companies that I've switched into, I've ensured that I get the similar profile. Nice. So after working with an IT company, I got into banking sector, and then I got into consulting with one of the big fours, and now again I'm into a banking sector. And I am currently working with one of the largest banks in India, largest private sector banks in India, into the similar profile, IFC. And I'm working there as an AVP now, Assistant Vice President.
Nice. And how many total years of experience have you had?
Yes. So usually what happens is, not everybody with an experience of around 7.5, 8 years would reach at the stage of Assistant Vice President. It usually takes around 10 to 12 years.
Nice.
That's how it is. But the profile is so niche, and the profile is so unconventional or unexplored by other CAs, that they need people who know this profile, who know
there's a huge vacuum in this profile.
That's there's a huge demand for this profile, that people should know this profile. And I knew it back then, because since it was a US federal law, I was pretty sure that it is going to hit India really hard.
Right.
And they will hunt for people who know this profile.
Right.
Hence this profile. And now I am working as an assistant vice president, and I lead a team of more than 8 to 10 people currently. So yes, I mean coming back to your part where you feel emptiness after clearing that CA. No, that to an extent yes, but not really, I would say, because I was always into a niche profile. Mm-hmm. So that did not hit me hard.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And people say that they always want to do a job or want to be an entrepreneur, but I'm also I'm also tilted towards this part as well, that if you are an employee with a good reputed brand like you are with, there are many things that you to learn over there as well.
Yes.
What would be your message for the people who are, as you said, in that job and cribbing? What's your motivation? How did you survive for that 7-8 years over here?
So I would say, if the profile is good, you are not going to suffer.
True. It
If
starts
you're
with the profile, basically.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. You have to be clear in your mind. Not all CAs are clear till date.
Right.
You have to be clear in your mind that what is that one thing that you are liking in the overall curriculum. So precisely why we have everything. Why CA, why Chartered Accountant is a mixture of everything. We have IT, we have audit, we have tax, we have company audit, we have company law, we have law, we have everything in our curriculum. And there are some things we do not like at all. But there is definitely going to be something that we like. So you have to be clear in your mind that in what profile you want to go. Not everybody can do tax. Not everybody can do audit. Not everybody can have litigation or law. Similar profile. But at the start of your career, you have to make sure you have to be clear in your mind, or else you're going to suffer.
And how important is pay over here?
Pay, yes, it is important. I would so you'll get many people who will say pay is not important. It will come eventually to you. To an extent, I would say it is important because so as I told you, I come I come from a background where I was not that financially strong, and I had to build something which had a fixed income, with cheapest growth with maximum returns and all those things. So pay matters a lot. I got a similar profile in other companies also post qualification as a CA, but the pay was really low. But I did not give up. I was like, let's try in another company. I used to hold that offer, and I used to try in other companies, and then eventually I'm sure anybody can crack an interview, and anybody can crack a good pay as well. It again depends on the market, market supply, market demand. It matters. It does matter.
But what should be your main focus? Should be the profile that you're getting.
Absolutely, yes. Because Amir Khan said in Three Idiots, "Run behind excellence." वो अपने आप पीछे भी जाएगा. Rest things will be followed. तो उसके excellence के पीछे भागो. अपनी तरक्की जट मार के पीछे आएगी. Success जट मार के पीछे आएगा. वो होने ही वाला है. Again, connecting that to this, if you get a good profile, if you are happy, if you are progressing in that, पैसा बढ़ने ही वाला है because you will be in demand every time.
And no one would leave you as well because you are the one who are actually productive and working for the company.
So when I say you are in demand, so for example, if I'm working with XYZ company, my profile is already into the portal, Naukri portal or whatever, we have the agencies. People, the HR, they look up to the profile and, they call us that, if you want to look for a higher profile, a higher designation with a good pay. Because of your profile and because of how you have progressed, your demand is increased already.
Right.
And then when you decide to switch, the existing company tries to retain you. Because they know this person is an asset to the company. True. I cannot let go of this asset. And they will eventually match your pay or whatever it is. So that's how things will go.
And I have seen many people who are there in a job for like 6 months or 8 months or 1 year at max. And they start scouting for other jobs. And eventually switch as well. What would be your message to them, or what, as per your experience, is that viable to do or not?
As a fresher, it is still considered. It is okay. Because as a fresher, you are probably not that much exposed to the corporate world. You're not pretty much exposed to the market. Right. So you are just giving it a try.
Right.
If that is the scenario, I can still understand that 6 months, 8 months or 12 months, you are planning to switch. But once you cross an experience of 5 to 7 years or 8 years or 10 years, then you cannot have that instability. Then you cannot go company to company by company every year or so. Then it is all about your inefficiency. Right. That indirectly somehow it portrays that you are not someone who will be stable. You're not someone who will be thinking long term, and you do not have a long term perspective. Right. It only gives an impression that you're running behind money and nothing else.
If you are an HR or a recruiter, you would never give such person an opportunity.
Yes, I would consider them, but I would not be pretty confident about them. I would still consider them, considering whatever if they're able to justify what was the reason of switching so much. If there's a valid reason, if the valid justification, then we can still consider. Not that you are confident about that person, because if the person has the capability of switching every year or every 8 months or every 1.5 years, and I've seen people having 5 years of experience and they have switched 6 companies, which is like it doesn't make sense, and market doesn't work that way. So eventually you are going to get in that limbo and you'll be stuck somewhere, and you will not find any company then eventually. After a certain years, you have to ensure you get stable. You get with a company where you have a good you have a good hold, and you can lead by example. As simple as that.
And I've also seen this thing that many times when you're leaving an organization, you ruin your relations over there as well, because we that अब मुझे क्या है, मुझे तो निकलना है. I believe that you have never done this, and
Yes.
all your ex-employers are very good friends of yours. You could go to them, and they're still trying to pull you
Yes.
back in your organization. How does that journey mean? Have you seen people doing this? I mean, how does this thing work?
Yes. So, firstly, it is very important to maintain good relations in whatever company you work. It is like, non-negotiable, I would say. It is not negotiable. It has to be the case where you have a good relation with your ex-company employees, and preferably top management. Because I'll give you my example. So, as I told you about, my second job was with the banking sector, and then the consulting, and then again the banking sector. So, the current company and the one previous banking sector is the same company I've got into.
Okay.
So the bank that I am working with now, I was working with the same bank previously for like 4.5 years. And I was stuck with that company. I stood with that company for like 4.5 years. That is the reason why they have the confidence in me that they could actually call me back and ask me to work with
And
them.
they invited you back in their
Yes,
firm, right?
yes.
That's nice.
So this is the purest example where things will work out automatically if you maintain good relations with the company, with the employees, with the top management. If you leave on a bad note, no one is going to get you back, because everybody will know that this person has a problem of misbehaving. This person has a problem of not understanding things properly, not leading by example, or whatever the reason is.
And correct me if I'm wrong. In today's corporate world, everything is documented, right?
Yes.
Everything is documented. And
Absolutely.
if your HR changes as well, they have an entire history of it.
Yes. So again, considering my example, I got a call from the same company, and whatever I had to say, they ended up telling me that we see that you have.
They knew all about you, basically.
Yes, they knew everything about me. They just confirmed with me, is this the correct scenario? Like, you work with the company for 4.5 years, and then you decided to switch the company, and this was your pay scale. This, you're working as on this designation over here when you were previously working with us. You're working with so and so team. So I was like, yes, this is what I was doing. So they have every record, every promotion, every cycle to cycle record with them. Yes, and it is totally documented. You cannot shy away from that.
Yeah, see, so your life is truly a journey to witness. I'm very sure about that, and everyone has right now seen that thing as well. But towards the end, what's your ultimate goal? Not let's say ultimate goal, but 5 to 10 years down the line, where do you see yourself? What would you be doing?
So I would say there are two things. One is a father and one is a godfather.
Right.
So I have a godfather in my life. He's my mama, and we have shared the similar life journey. He has grown from as a self-made man, and I have had a similar life altogether. So I would like to see if I achieve 50% of what he is right now, I think I've achieved my goal, and that is something that I aspire to be. And even he's a CA, by the way. Even he's a chartered accountant. He has his own practice. So I mean, even if I achieve 50% of what he is right now, I think I've achieved my target. That is my ultimate goal, and and I would say, I happen to follow one person very religiously. That is Mr. Ratan Tata. So he had given one quote, and which is my status since I think 10 years, probably more than that. That I do not take right decisions. I take decisions and make them right. So this is what I something truly believe in, and it's a calculated decision that you need to take, and eventually you make it right.
Right.
There will be people who will be telling you that you're not going to be able to do this, you will not be able to do that, you have to turn back, take a U-turn. But no, if you believe it is going to happen, it is going to happen. It might take some time. Probably some people might be able to do it in 6 months. You might take 6 years, but it is going to happen for sure. So yes.
Fantastic. And truly, we can go on and on, but unfortunately, we have to end it over here. But Rishi Ganatra, thank you so much. Always a pleasure talking to you. I think it's all about going. In your life, I have seen that you have taken out the opportunity that came in, and you just blindly trusted what was happening. You trusted the process, and you walked through that journey, and today you are here eventually. So, congratulations to you. Thank you so much for coming down over here. Thank you.
Thank you, Manthan, and thank you for calling me here.
Okay.
Thank you.